So we had some questions, a little bit of debate on whether or not the Smith Wesson M&P series is designed to close its slide when a magazine is inserted, or if that is a malfunction or a problem with specific firearms. So I figured I would give you my 2 cents. I'm going to load a couple of plastic dummy rounds into this magazine. Got an empty M&P here. So what I notice is the slot right here. I should get something to point with. The slot right there, when I push down on here, you can see that this slid down out of the way. So now I'll bring the slide back, and you can see the lever there that transfers to the slide, and I can set it there so that it's barely touching, so that you would think that it would just it would just close on its own because it's barely touching. Right, and that's a little bit more, but I could also set it where it's up all the way, and if you'll look, its tendency, its spring is to pull it down. So you have to push it up. So it's a factor of either how much you're pushing up with your thumb, or how much the magazine is pushing up, how much pressure it's applying. So the first thing I did when I wanted to see what my gun did, after people had talked about it, is I made sure it was up as far as it'll go, and it is. Then I took an empty magazine, actually, and inserted it. It didn't just close. I didn't see any noticeable shift there. So I inserted it again. Same thing. Seems pretty darn solid to me. Some suggestion of angle. So that was with a down angle. Doesn't seem to have moved. And it is in fact still pretty much far up. This angle. And again, it doesn't seem to move. However, if you have a couple of rounds in the magazine, it has the a little more pressure. It slammed right home. So we have a round chambered. So we'll do that again. We'll bring it back. We'll make sure it's all the way up. It's all the way up there. And I'm horizontal to the ground, and I'm pushing it, I don't know, medium hard. I'm not trying to break the thing. Alright, medium hard. Alright, ran out of camera there, so I had to start over. I'm not sure where I left off. So we're up at the extreme high end there. I've got just 2 dummy rounds loaded in a 10-round magazine, and I'm pushing it about medium hard. First slam that time. And I'm going to try it with just the one round. And again, up as far as it'll go. Nothing that time. Did it shift? It did shift down just a noticeable amount. I was able to push it back up into place with my thumb. Same thing, not quite as much. Now I'm going to slam this home, very as hard as I can, really. And now I pushed it really hard. I think the momentum of the slam, the magazine follower here, or the lips or whatever hits, hitting that home was enough to even, move the pistol. So, not sure if it's inertia that's creating that, or if it's something hitting. So that's my question. So I looked inside here. We'll see if we can get the camera to see down here okay. I don't see anywhere that it's hitting. Right? I can't see any place where it's actually touching the frame, and I don't know how well it's going to translate to the video here, but it seems to almost be free floating there. But when you throw a couple of rounds in, let me bring this up. it seems as though you could probably hit the ejector there. So something about the rounds being in the magazine changes the geometry of it just enough that it comes up. See, it dropped it, so it's barely holding the slide right now. I suspect this one, even at just modest speed, will release the slide. No, not quite. But we're definitely not holding on by much. Well, now it's barely holding on. I think a noticeable shift that time. So this one again, this should definitely drop it. No, I did it. Just barely slapped it in there. So you know, I don't know if this even ended the debate. I think that it could be deliberate by Smith. I didn't see anything in their literature that says that that's the case. You know, the release is on both sides, but the actual catch is just on the other side, on this side. It definitely doesn't happen every time for me, but we definitely are moving that down a little bit. Is the answer an aftermarket slide lock? You know, maybe something that's cast, or maybe something made out of a little more substantial piece of steel, but maybe something a different shape. I'm not sure. I'm not sure that it matters to me too much in the heat of you know, quick drill or potential gunfight or whatever. You know, I don't think it's going to matter. I'm going to mind too much if that slide drops on me. Worst that's going to happen is I'll rack it through muscle memory or through reflex and lose a round, but hardly an issue really on a 10-round capacity. So, I don't know if that ended the debate or not, but that's a little bit more to add to the discussion of the M&P slide drop.